straight into the sauna, back in for a 2-minute swim, then have the sauna. Like 20 minutes sauna for a 2-minute swim. That sort of rotation. So I'll probably be doing something similar. Or I might talk to Laird, so Laird Hamilton, he does this as well, and they're getting good results. But it is super different. This is what I normally do. So I normally diving. This is the last big competition I went in was in Blue Hole in Dean's Blue Hole in the Bahamas. And I went over there to try to get really deep in 2012. So I went to a World Cup that Wiltshire Ridge invited me to. The deepest I'd already been before that was an 80-metre diver. But I got to 80 metres when 80 metres was frickin' deep. And that got me to sort of world number 5 back in the early 2000s. But then whenever I was going past me in depth, I just got stuck there. I didn't know how to equalise to go deeper than 80 metres. So you learn a technique to go from 50 to 70 or 50 to 80. You learn a particular technique in order how to preserve your air to be able to equalise. But to get from 80 deeper, it requires another set of techniques as well. And I just physically didn't know how to do it. But I went to this competition and kind of worked it out myself what I was doing wrong, because it was just a mistake that I was making, a technical error around how I was using my glottis and my throat to store air. And once I'd made this minute little change in this one competition, I went from being an 80-metre diver to being a 100-metre diver in competition, which was certainly the pinnacle of freediving for me so far, was diving 100 in a column.
So how deep are you planning on going?
So I'm planning on doing around about 80. Yeah, so I'm going to be in the best form I've ever been in. I'm going to be going to the New Zealand Nationals first and diving around the 90s in New Zealand.
That's in Lake Taupo?
Lake Taupo, yeah. They weren't too stoked to hear that actually. They were like, so they said that's fine, I can sort of do some dives around that.
So you're pretty much going to go there, you say the record 65 metres.
Yeah.
You're going there to utterly smash it. You're not going to even be right there. You're going there to just...
I would like to. Part of me still goes, but what am I missing here? Surely it's going to be...
Have you ever dived more than about 30 or 40 metres in that sort of temperature before?
Yeah, so when I had the problem with the suits in Finland, the dive shop, I went back and complained, man, this crazy zip up the front scuba suit is killing me. It's so cold. I did a 42 in it. It was hideous. I may as well have just gone on speedos.
So you've got a lot of things still yet to find out before you're going to go much beyond the 50 metres.
I don't think so. Not now, because I feel like I have answered those questions. I went out, they got me in a Cressy spearfishing suit. It didn't fit, but I did a 55 with that. So, and I didn't find it particularly troubling. Fortunately for me, I really learned most of my formative years of freediving were done in Lake Pupuki in New Zealand. And it is a pitch black lake, top to bottom, and it goes down 55 metres. And I would just do so much diving in that lake. And I got so used to diving without torches and just kind of dealing with the fact that it was mud and filthy and dark and quite cold. And that's what most European divers don't have. They've never done a lot of that. Some have in the lakes, but most don't have a lot of experience with it. So I think that that's a bit of an advantage. Just because when you go, this is the main difference I find. It's not the cold, but when you go under the ice, instantaneously it's pitch black. And so if you think about when you normally do a dive, right? So if you're spearfishing and say you're doing a 30-metre drop, you go down all the way to the bottom at 30, it's only starting to get a bit dark, right? And then when you come up, you can look up and you can see lots of light that you're swimming up to. So if you don't do a 30 under the ice, once you start diving down, it's like immediately it's far around, it's pitch black. Like within 2 or 3 metres. And so if 30 is a long dive, and you get to 30, then you switch and you're coming back up. If you've got a torch on, great, you've got a frame of reference with the rope, but you'll be swimming and swimming and swimming and swimming, and normally you're expecting it to get lighter and lighter and lighter, and you get more and more relaxed, not under the ice. So if you're going to 80 metres, You're swimming and swimming and swimming. You might be swimming uphill for a minute, and it's still pitch black. That screws with your mind massively because you're so used to it getting lighter and giving yourself that level of comfort. Under the ice, you don't have it. You look up, you see nothing. So that's what makes it so much harder.
I don't know.
Sorry, did you ever?
I don't know if you have time, but it would be interesting to hear from you about your equalizing and diving techniques.
Yeah.
I'm not talking about the level where you are, but just for, some useful tips for newcomers like us.
No. It's just a different application of a similar sport. So for anything under 55 meters, I really
fit in that category.
yeah. So I'm not doing anything special. I'm simply using Frenzel guitar, or Frenzel under 55, which is a common placing pressure against a block nose to close. The difference is that I changed from that quite early on in my dive. So prior to diving, I warm up my eustachian tubes. So I will, while I'm on the boat, I'll push my ears out, back in, back in, and then I'll loosen my jaw, all those sorts of things, just to make sure my ears are working well. And then, so on a deep dive, if I'm going deep, then what happens is I'll use, I'll do Frenzel to 20, and from 20 it changes. So from 20, what I'm doing is I'm taking all that air out of my stomach, my lungs, and just bringing it up to my cheeks. So we do that by, 20 is quite easy to do. So you guys familiar? Has anyone done this, or other than Danny knows about a cheek fill? So the idea is that the air in my lungs, I don't want it in my lungs anymore. I need to store it up in my cheeks.
So it doesn't fit in your cheek comfort.
Yeah, because once you get to 20 meters, there's a lot of pressure and it's already compressed there and it's quite comfortable. So, and the air in my throat, there's a lot of space from here to here, believe it or not. So what I'm doing is I'm bringing all that air up, and you do it like this. So I'm at 20 meters, arms are up. Yeah, even on the guy, it just comes out like this. I can't hold it. And so what I'm doing is by making that sound underwater, it helps to bring all the air up into your cheeks. If I'm going past 80, 85, then I'll have my mouth open, and I'll have two fingers over my mouth to create more open space in my head. Yeah, 2 or 3 fingers around my mouth. And then what you're doing is while your head's up like this, I'm filling right through my throat. And that will come up just beneath my chin. And then I'll lock the glottis. You have to have a very strong glottis for this. And then pressurize. And so you've got multiple liters of air compressed in that space of your throat. Then strong glottis, soft palate control, and then holding everything in your cheeks and with your hand.
So what's the benefit of having that air stuck in there?
So to you asked about equalization. Once I'm there, this is what I can do. It's now so much pressure that I don't even have to equalize anymore.
Oh, okay, so that's done with it.
It's done. So I can it's just so much pressure in my head that my ears are now open. Eustachian tubes open, and I can just figure it out. No problem.
What about when you come back up? Wouldn't that expand?
Yeah, but not until sort of 10 meters from the surface. And then 10 meters from the surface, you've normally forgotten it. The air comes out. Yeah, because you just can't hold it all over.
But there is anything that you do in order to lower your kind of heart rate, that kind of, like...
No. No, I'm a big believer in diving without warm-ups. So it means that my heart rate's just normal.
Just normal.
I'm normally conversational like this before a dive, and then 2 minutes out, I switch. Switch into dive mode, do a particular 2-minute breathe-up routine, and then I go.
Which is like?
So I break up my 2-minute breath to, first minute I do 4 breaths, I take 15 seconds each. 15 seconds.
Okay, yeah, alright.
So the nice slow breaths and the through pursed lips. Theory being that you're creating back pressure on your bronchioles to over oxygenate. And then at 1 minute I do 1 more of those, and I do 2 sighing breaths. Not a hyperventilation, just even more gentle than that. And then it takes me 30 seconds to fill. 30 seconds to get the last breath in. And I pack. You guys all familiar with packing or laka? Yeah, so I'll pack. Usually I'll start soon increasing my flexibility of my rib cage so that I can get in around 20 to, actually usually around 30 to 40 packs if I'm going past 80. Anything, I won't pack that hard for the ice dive. I imagine maximum 20 packs, just not that deep. Yeah.
But anyway, think of that.
Yeah. I know it's a bit foreign. It's a bit different. So here's a photo of what ice diving is like normally. You've got a layer of about 1.5 feet of ice to cut
Half
through.
a meter?
Sorry?
Half a meter?
Yeah, about, well, just under half a meter. Where we're going to do the actual record attempt though is we're going up to Kirkenes, up in northern Norway in the Arctic Circle. This time of year the ice surface, the ice cap is going to be 1 meter thick, and it normally has 1 meter of hardened snow on top of it. We take.
That's why it's so dark underneath.
You're exactly right. That's what makes it so dark. There is no light.
I know, but I didn't see it.
Yeah.
So how big's the hole that you're going to be diving through?
Well, that's a good question. So the hole, we want to keep it small because it's going to take us a full day, like from dawn till dusk, a full day to cut the one hole to get all the ice out. Some people in Europe, they cut the hole and then they push the blocks of ice underneath the ice hole. We won't be doing that for the world record. It's too high risk, it's too dangerous. You can come up and hit one of those ice blocks, it will knock you out. So yeah, full day to cut it. So it's a small hole, so it means that when I do the dive, I've got a very small window to get down in.
But how are you going to manage to find the hole on the way out?
It's not the line, isn't it?
So I'll be tethered to a line.
You're good.
And that line is your lifeline. If you get narcosis and decide to take it off for any reason, you will never find the surface if you're not on that rope. So it's critical to stay on it.
Yeah, they got a winch on that.
Yeah, so the safety protocol we're going to run is that there'll be a small hole and there'll be in-water safety and above-water safety. In-water safety is a guy called John O'Sunex. He's a 100-meter diver from New Zealand, and he's my in-water safety. We have to have a special setup. He can't be on my line, so we have to make a rope for him and a hole for him. It sucks.
So when you say in water, is he going to be on bubbles or is he free diving with you?
He has to be breath hold.
Okay.
So he'll have a rope that's very close to mine, and he'll, because his safety is as important as mine, but he has to safety me from that other line, potentially with a lighter base plate at the bottom of it, so that if he has to swim over to me, he can haul his line over. There'll be a above water safety, and so what we're going to be doing is when I swim down, and I get the tag, then I start swimming up, he'll count 10 seconds, and then he starts hauling the rope up, so that the rope's coming up at the same speed as me. Behind him, someone is putting that rope straight into a bucket, and as soon as the rope starts straight into a heated tent, because that rope will freeze, it'll freeze almost instantaneously. Yeah, and then we'll be able to get it back to the hut.
Are you going to be diving in polar bear free zones? Or?
Yeah, that's another good question. So we were diving it's
Not
obviously
a joke, actually.
no, it's a serious consideration. So where we're going, they don't have polar bear. They have wolves, but we don't expect any trouble from wolves. They don't have polar bear. But one thing we're considering doing is it'll be a lot easier for us to go up and dive the Bering Sea. Now, if the Bering Sea is frozen, some years it does, some years it doesn't. If it's frozen right to shore, then the ice cap will be this thick, 30 centimetres. And we'd rather cut through 30 centimetres than 1 metre for 2 holes.
But then will that go back to the issue
Of polar bears.
Yeah.
It will. So if we do that, then we need to take a local out with us with a shotgun and run.
No, with the proper gun.
Yeah, with a proper gun, sorry. And also with binoculars, because they can swim quite far on breath hold, and if one slips into the water, jump away. Yeah, get on the way out.
No, you don't want to be there.
Yeah.
Is the Bering Sea at that sort of depth? That'd be a fair way out.
We'd have to go a fair way out on snowmobile to get the depth. Yeah. Yeah. And
Are you going to have all this kind of recording, like a little bit of a video?
yeah, we're taking a production team with us.
Well, this is what makes some.
We'll make something beautiful. We're not going to make a doco. We're not going to do anything for television.
Why not?
We've gone down the route of just doing something a bit more sort of chilled. We're going to make a 15-minute movie for like a mountain film festival, that type of thing. Yeah. Yeah.
Do you have sponsors in?
Yeah. So I'm super fortunate. In 15 years, I've never had a sponsor. Well, I've had product sponsors giving me wetsuits that fall apart. So I've never really had sponsors because it's such a fringy sport. This year's been really unique in that in my line of work, I run my own business, and one of my clients, I work quite closely with the managing director, and he said to me, "Who's paying for this ice diver stuff you're doing?" I said, "I've been saving up for a couple of years, I'm self-funding, keeping the cost down to the bottom. What's it going to cost?" It's going to cost us about 50 grand. I'm going to have to fundraise a little bit. No, fuck that, I'll pay for it. So yeah, amazing. So the company's called ASG. They're an IT managed services company. They're tipping in more than half that amount.
What's the name of the company?
ASG. Yeah. So they're owned by a Japanese parent company. So it's fantastic. It's an absolute game changer for me. And because of that, we're able to bring the production crew over. And we've got beautiful wetsuits all branded up. And Danny from Continuum is going to be making the monofin that I hope to be diving. So he's pulling finger at the moment to get it ready for us.
No pressure.
No pressure.
So you've ironed out all of the issues with
So this is really the progression we've been going through. So I did it's hard to see, but I went and did a couple of weeks of ice diving in Finland 2 years ago. Then I wanted to keep my world ranking up and doing competitions. I did like doing the Depth Comps Internationals, which is a world ranking competition in New Zealand. And then I'm also going to go and spend some time in New Zealand and Taupo, just trying to get. The original intent was to go to Taupo was to get back to 80 meters wearing a mask. That's actually really hard to do, to get down that deep. Because as you know, you'll always pressurize this mask. It's a pain in the ass. It makes it very hard to equalize effectively as well, going deep once you have a residual volume.
Why are you choosing to use a mask over fluid goggles?
So if I use fluid goggles, I will literally freeze my eyeballs.
Right, yep.
But I want to show you guys something really tricky. It's only come out a year ago. I'll hand this around. This has been the most exciting breakthrough from me, not by me, by a company in Germany, I believe, called the Hectometer. So what you're looking at here,
What is the name of that?
Hectometer. Hectometer goggles. So these are very cool. When you have a look at them, they'll look like ordinary swimming goggles. But behind them, you'll see that there's this little fold in there. And it's so simple, it's so clever. When I dive in these, the water pressure fills these fluid sacs, and the sacs come up right around my eyeball. And they fill, but I don't have to equalize them. Someone's taken these to 100. I've taken them to 70 so far, and they were fine. And then on the way up, it just forces the water back out as the air re-expands. And I can wear a nose clip, and I can wear this, no water involved. So these are absolutely amazing.
So they're generally part of the school.
They are. You can just go and buy them straight off the internet. Yeah.
Actually, it looks like a fold.
It does. It looks like a fold. So that's going to be a real game changer because now I don't have to figure this out. I've eliminated a really big problem of how to get there.
You are wearing these?
I'll be wearing these.
Okay.
Not a mask. I had to order brand new wetsuits when these arrived because my other wetsuits, like a normal wetsuit, they come around like this.
Yeah.
All this face is exposed, and like the thing is I found in Finland is this section here of your forehead. If you just go in the water with that, it's like 1,000 needles jabbing into your forehead. It is horrendous. So I had wetsuits made that come down to my forehead, and they come right here, just underneath my lip, which I find very uncomfortable, but it's a lot warmer. So I'll be wearing those with a band around my head that will also have a Paralens, which is a camera, like a long camera, not a GoPro, it's too boxy. A long camera that can go down 150 meters. And over this side I'll have an Elfscape's torch that's heavy duty aluminium that can go down 100 meters. So a lot of stuff on the head. In the back of my wetsuit, just under my head, I'll have a dive computer called what's it called? A Rorca. So you guys heard of a Rorca?
No.
Okay, so a Rorca has, it's just literally an aluminium tube. It has no buttons and it has no display. You plug it into your laptop and you program what you want it to do, and then you stick it in somewhere, but it has to be against your skin. Against your skull. And then it talks to you, and it's the coolest invention I've ever seen beyond the hectometer. So I go on and I program it, and it's great. Its sensors are amazing. So once I've programmed it, once I swim down, as soon as I start swimming down, it'll say nothing. Apart from tell me if my battery's full, which is important for me diving into the ice, because batteries die very quick. So it'll tell me 100% battery. Like, cool. So I'm diving, and as I go down, it'll say 20 meters, time for a cheek fill. And so I'll cheek fill, and it'll tell me if I'm going too fast or too slow. It'll say slow down, it'll say speed up. And then as I go down, I will have no reference point because it's so dark. So this will tell me, you're at 30 meters, you're at 40 meters, 50 meters, just relax, enjoy the dive.
Is it your voice?
It's not my voice. It's some hard-ass European Eastern Bloc woman. Enjoy your dive. And then, so you know how I was saying, if I'm swimming uphill for a whole minute, it's pitch black, and you're narked, you can make bad decisions, you can get, narcosis can push you to a state of terror. Very easy on a dive this deep when it's this dark. So the Rorca will tell me, you're at 40 meters, you're nearly back. 30 meters, good pace, great dive, 20 meters. Talk to me the whole way up, so I'm pre-programming my coaching. So this is my dive coach that I'm taking with me. And they haven't sold many of these. It's unbelievable.
How much do these things cost?
Well, they're like 600 euros or something, so yeah, there's a cost to them, but for something like this, it's going to be a game changer.
What is the camera that you're going to wear?
Paralens.
Paralens?
Yeah, so they're an experimental camera, rated to 150 meters. Well, I haven't used it yet, but
I think it would take the quality of the lens.
I don't know. It shoots at 4K.
It would be able to.
Yeah.
You should wear a watch as well.
Yeah, so I'll have a dive watch on, and I'll probably wear it around, I'll probably have a D6i here to measure the bottom depth, and a D4F here as a backup in case the Rorca fails. Or, so I've got a redundancy because I won't hear this, it's too quiet. Whereas I'll wear one on the neck weight just to give me the beeps.
Just for the depth alarm or whatever?
Yeah, so normally I set it so it's 20-meter alarm for a cheek fill, and then 7 meters from my base plate is when the second alarm goes. But that means a very long gap of not knowing, not hearing, wondering if your watch is working. So yeah, if they both fail, it's a pain in the ass, but I'll still do the dive. Yeah. So we're going to have a bottom torch that'll light things up. So I'll have some light at the bottom. I am limited to 80 meters in the depth because the deepest we've found so far in depth sounding up in Kirkenes on the fjords is 82 meters. And I don't want to dive onto the base, onto the bottom, because there could be old cars or motorcycles or trees and stuff left down there, so we've got to allow a bit of a buffer. We'll take a depth sounder, you do a drill hole in the ice, it's 150 millimeters wide, put depth sounder down and on a pole, and then we test that we've got enough depth, and then we run the ropes down.
So who's measuring the record? Is it AIDA?
Guinness. AIDA won't do it. CMAPS have said they're very interested, but they're not ready yet. I think you'll see CMAPS by the end of this year doing ice dive records. Whether they retrospectively look at mine, I'm not sure. Guinness have agreed to do it. They've set a minimum of 80 meters for the dive, which is kind of random because I wrote something. Do you guys realize that the world record is 65, and you're saying the minimum is 80? Like, do you guys understand what freediving is? So I'm trying to make a case for them at the moment to recognise the 65 metres of wasn't done through Guinness and make that as the minimum.
Who did the 65?
It's a guy called Nikolai Konstantin.
Yep, but who was the agency?
No agency.
No agency, okay.
No. So this is the first that has ever been ratified by any official body, pseudo-official, I think, because it's Guinness. I had a little bit of press. This was pretty cool. The New York Post published this one. I was nearly crushed to death, 330 feet underwater. They love to sensationalise stuff. 100 metres. We've got a little bit of media interest so far. I've tried to fly under the radar a little bit. I'm not looking for a lot of notoriety with the dive. But now that we've got a sponsor on board, it is actually important that I get some vision. So we're now sort of talking to some newspapers, and we'll do the TV news and stuff. Probably not before I go, but when I come back. So once we've got the record, we'll try to get footage like immediately through to Australia and New Zealand to broadcast it. They can share it more broadly if they wish, and then hopefully I'll come back and I'll get on Morning Sunrise, that sort of jazz, and have a bit of fun telling people why we did it and what it's about.
When are you doing this?
So the plan is that we go on the 6th of March to Taupo for the deep phase of my training, which is the deepest I can get in diving off Torquay is 70 metres, and that's even that is quite rare. Daniel and I seem to be hovering around 60 to 65 on what we can get here. So I go to Taupo, I want to just be diving between 70 and 90. I'll have a boat over there and an SUV to drive it around the tow bar. And then once we've done that conditioning phase to get deep, then it's over to Finland. We'll have 10 days on the ice, acclimatising and switching on cold mode. And then we drive 16 hours to Kirkenes, and we take turns driving up there with 2 vehicles. And then we stay in a wood cabin on the edge of the lake, on the edge of the fjord. And we've got 4 snowmobiles. Everyone gets trained in how to use snowmobiles, minus 25 each day, out into the ice, 10 kilometres. Day 1 is to drill the holes. Days 2, 3 and 4, 27th, 28th, 29th, I've got 3 days to do the world record. And then we drive all the way back in 16 hours, 2 days. We literally arrive in Helsinki, get on a plane and fly back.
Here's an interesting question for you.
Sure.
So my computer, when I'm doing scuba diving, always yells at me about flying too close to a dive. Is that a concern with freediving?
It's not a consideration. It would be a consideration if you're doing multiple dives beyond 70 metres each day, because then you're at a risk zone for DCS. But with a 2-day window before I jump on a plane, I'm going to be absolutely fine. Yeah, so I'm not worried about that. I've never heard of a freediver being on a flight. But yeah, it's something I'm conscious of if I'm diving beyond 90. So I'll be really careful. Yeah.
And obviously your breath holding ability has to be pretty good. But the other thing is really the cold tolerance. I was on YouTube once and I saw this guy, either a Dutch or a German.
Wim Hof.
Yeah. In terms of cold tolerance, he was telling everybody about his technique. Is that dinkum or what do you think of that?
It is. It's interesting because it used to be a lot of the empirical research done by the universities said that humans are very good at adapting to heat, but very poor at adapting to cold. And the research was showing that there's only...
We are mammals.
Yeah.
That's the trouble.
We're very good at putting on clothing if we get cold.
No, but also, we kind of keep the body tries to keep the temperature around 37, and this is what is specific to mammals, which are, we are part of that.
But it was showing some adaptation through the production of brown fats for people who are just swimming in the English Channel and swimming under the ice. And so Wim Hof's latched on to that, is doing, there's sort of 2 parts. He has a breathing part to preparing for cold water tolerance, which I ignore because it is completely counterintuitive and I don't think it works. And it's dangerous, in my view. And then he has his tolerance training, which I fully subscribe to, and I'm doing that at the moment, which is sequential adaptation or exposure to varying degrees of cold.
talking about the water lane. So this place we're going to dive is going to be fresh water, not salt.
Yeah.
But sorry, what's the under the water? What's your expectation to be the water temperature there?
0.2. So it'll be the same as Finland. It doesn't get any colder, otherwise it will freeze.
0.2.
Yeah. So it's warm compared to the outside air temperature.
Well, I can see something else. Water, fresh water that is, gets the heaviest at 4 degrees. So basically, once it hits 4 degrees, it just sinks down. Sinks down. So basically, at the bottom, depending how deep it is, but say if you hit that 80 meters, perhaps the last. This is an estimate. I would say the last 30, 40 meters, or maybe even more, will be 4 degrees.
Yeah.
But denser.
Yeah.
That means more buoyancy for you.
Yeah, but by that depth it doesn't matter. I'm so negative at that depth.
Yeah, just
yeah, but it'd be interesting. I didn't notice that when we dived in Finland. I didn't notice any buoyancy changing at depth. But it's hard because you've got very little reference point.
So you're going at 5 minutes.
Yeah.
This is constant weight.
Constant weight.
So the first 20 minutes, so you'll be having fun.
Yeah, I have to really get my buoyancy right. It's again low, with no salt in the water. It means I'll sink a lot faster. I'm only paying to weigh 1 kilogram, and normally in freshwater I dive with 1 kg on a 5 mil wetsuit. I'll have gloves and booties on. I do have a 7 mil suit that I'm taking just in case, but I'm not planning to use it because I heard a quote when I was younger, which I still remember to this day, which is a man in the cold is not necessarily a cold man. And so I'm going with that version. It's less about tolerance and adaptation to cold, it's about staying warm. So I'll have a tent. I've got another sponsor, Raab, who's going to provide me with a tent with a heater in it. And I'll basically be in there, doing my breathe out, have all my gear on, super, super warm, walk out, 2-minute warm up. So breathe out, fall forward and go. So it's aggressive on all your internal organs to dive that deep.
Doesn't that bring, I remember doing some diving training a while ago, the stressful situation for the diving.
It brings out you're absolutely right, it brings out a massive dive response. So it's awful to dive with because if you go 0 warm up, it means you get this much earlier, you get a very sharp dive response and there's a risk that you panic a little bit thinking the dive's going bad. But actually, having a really sharp dive response during your first dive is exactly what you want. It's far safer to dive that way. It just happens to be a lot less comfortable. But I'd rather be less comfortable and have a better dive response and be safer.
So
why is it safer?
It's safer because you haven't done any, you haven't had any attrition of oxygen in your internal organs of blood because you've done no breath holds. You just literally gone. But it's hard on your internal organs. You've got no warm up, no preparing for this, and psychologically there's no preparation. It's just whammo, freezing cold water, 80 meters, let's go. 2 minutes, ready? So it's hard.
So how long do you reckon it will take you to go to that depth?
I think it'll
from past experience.
230, 240.
That's what.
Feeling fit at the moment, so I'll probably and I'll be cold, so I'll probably just fully gas up and power on the swim back up. I'll also have the added complication that with them pulling up the rope, it'll look like I'm staying still. So that's the other reason I've got the Rorke, so it's telling me the depth as I swim up. Otherwise, I'll have a tendency to 15 years of always seeing that I'm going up and it's getting lighter and knowing that the rope, I can see the speed against the rope. 15 years of that, when you're under stress and pressure of a dive this deep, when you see the rope traveling with you, it tells you that you're stuck, that you're actually at the bottom.
Why don't you just colour the rope in black so you're not going to get a rope at all?
I have a video which I won't bother sharing with you, but of a GoPro that we put on a pole with a weight, looking at a depth sounder, and we ran it down to 82 meters at the spot where we were going to dive. And when you first put it down, you go, oh my God, that's so dark, it's so black. But you can still see the display. And then when you get down to 40, you just go, oh man, it seems to be like fading. looks terrible. Like this is a super bright LED, and then by 60 I think it was, this whole LED sort of perimeter around the depth gauge just disappeared. It wasn't emitting enough light for these LEDs for the GoPro to catch it. The GoPro's here.
Gee.
Yeah, so like it's just stripped of all light down here.
So when you print, what's the date? When you think you will fall?
Yeah, 27, 28, 29 March. Yeah, it'll be, if we're allowed to do a minimum of 66, I'll do a 70 day one, 75 day two, 80 day three. Yeah.
You're a professionally educated psychologist. If in your professional capacity someone has present themselves to you and say they're going to try what you're trying, what would your advice to you?
Experience counts for so much in this sport. Having done it for so long, I've put myself in some really precarious positions and had things go wrong. I've twice been caught at the bottom, stuck with equipment that's got hooked up on a base plate 200 feet down when it's been pitch black darkness, and swum uphill for a minute thinking I was going up and then realising that I wasn't going anywhere and still getting pitched back to the bottom. I've been circled by tiger sharks, I've been in caught the feeding frenzy. I've just had freaking everything go wrong freediving. I think I've had go wrong. And that's really important, because when you start doing dives that are a little bit of the fringe, then your autopilot's really good. So if things do go wrong, then you're just a lot more, you know that your heart rate must stay exactly where it is, and you can't panic, you can't be flustered. And so to answer your question, if someone doesn't have those years of experience, then I'd say what you're doing is very dangerous, very, very dangerous. A friend of mine, Nick Bellevue, was in that category where he got to very, very deep dive within 2 years. And although he got to the depths and was competing at that level, didn't have the breadth of experience of all the stuff going wrong. And then when something does go wrong, an accident happens, there's panic, and unfortunately there's death, I believe. So yeah, that would be my advice, is if you follow all the safety rules and you gradually progress, it's a very, very safe sport. But I haven't had an injury in 15 years. But if you break one of those rules, you've now put yourself in a position where it could be life and death. Yeah, that's just how I treat the sport. I'll never go and hold my breath for a minute unsupervised. But unfortunately, a lot of people don't think like that. That's right.
Can you repeat what you just said last? About newborn?
What's that?
I couldn't quite hear what you just said last part of the sentence.
Sorry.
About a minute or something.
Yeah, I won't go to pool and hold my breath for a minute unsupervised. I can hold my breath for 8 minutes, but I won't do a minute unsupervised.
You kidding?
No.
I thought I didn't hear it properly.
No.
Why is it 1 minute and not 2 minutes or 3 minutes?
Because I really want to set or be a role model for others around pools and pool safety. I have people that troll me on my website and stuff, because they say what I'm doing is sending the wrong message to kids, and kids get killed in swimming pools all the time. And I say, no, actually, I'm the opposite of that. I want to educate people that you should not do this in pools unless you're trained and you have adequate safety. But don't be ignorant. You can have adequate safety and actually do this very, very safely. It's by choice.
The point is, I understand what you were coming from, but building up common sense into the younger generation or general public, it's far much more important than setting up rules and regulations and boundaries. Common sense.
Common sense is the first thing. But this is, so I'm setting myself a common sense limit, which is a rule. So early on in freediving in Australia and in New Zealand, I played a hand in establishing a set of guidelines or safety rules that people who were training with us committed to, and that was one of them: is you never train alone.
Well, I agree with that. But the other thing is when people like you obviously on the YouTube, whatever, but I haven't seen kind of where do you get your training and experience. I mean, I know you go competition, but then obviously you must have had some coaching and training about how to do this and how to get better holding the breath and not panicking and So how do you do that kind of?
So early on, I was traveling around the world just to go and train with people.
So other people like
we had no training and no coaches in New Zealand, so I would fly to places like Turkey. And at the time when I was trying to learn freediving, there were only coaches in France, South America, and one in the US. And I heard that the best guy was running courses in Turkey. He was a Cuban guy. So I'd go over, and I had to apply to do it. And he had world champions coming along, and I wanted to train with them. And mostly I learned from them. So I was sitting on a boat next to a world champion and asking him questions. And then what I would do is I would travel around the world, and I would email or write to the world champions like Herbert Niche, or I'd write to Alexei Molchanov. So I'd have done a lot of training with Alexei. So I'd write to him and say, Alexei, I'm going to come to Russia and I want to train with you. Can I come and spend 2 weeks with you? He'd go, yeah. And I'd go in. And my early decision was I will go and train with all the world's best that will allow me to. And I'll watch what I do over 2 weeks of training, and then I will come back and I will train harder. And therefore that will give me my advantage. So that was just my philosophy.
That situation where you said you went down the line like putting a base plate, what did you do that?
So it was with an experimental lanyard that was too long, and it was a wire one that tended to wrap around itself. It got tangled around a 10-kilogram base plate. And I think at the time I had it off a weight belt, so I didn't realise I wasn't pulling my arm, I was pulling a weight belt, so I swung, just thinking everything's great. And then realised, because then I was like, shit, it's not getting any lighter. So after a minute of swimming, I stopped, and I just felt the sensation of acceleration in a negative direction. And then I hit the mud at the bottom of the lake back at 60 metres. So I was like, that's not good. So but I just thought, the only thing that could be going wrong here is that I've caught the base plate. So alarm bells are going off, but I just went, I'm just going to take off my load, but it's no big deal. So I'll just take it off, we can pull it up later, and then I just grab the rope and pull myself up.
So you literally just released your weight belt and went up the rope?
Yeah, it didn't feel like a dangerous situation at the time, because I just thought, I know what it is, I know how to deal with it. But it has affected me. So when I did the 100 metres in the Bahamas, I did that at 2 o'clock in the afternoon was my official top time. And the Blue Hole in the Bahamas is a vertical limestone shaft that goes down 212 metres. And at 2 o'clock in the afternoon, the sun is on an angle and it only penetrated 20 metres. So I had 80 metres of my dive was in pitch black darkness. And I wasn't prepared for that, because every day I'd be diving in the morning. And so on my dive to 100, when I went down, I actually dived pretty slow, because I'd only been taught the night before about putting my hands around and getting 3 fingers around my mouth. So I stopped at 20 metres and spent 20 seconds trying to get it right. And then I started kicking it down, and then it worked. And I got my last equalisation at about 92. Got this faintest pop in my ears and managed to just descend down and put a bit of pressure on my ears, but I got down to the plane at 100. But it took me a minute 40 to get to the plane going down. So then I'm swimming back up. And I didn't get narked on the way down, but I got narked from about 90 on the way up. Now, narcosis at depth does one of two things. If the dive's going well, it pushes you to euphoria. If your dive's going bad, it pushes you into terror. And on the way up, because it was so dark, I was swimming for a minute. So it's been a minute and a half down, a minute coming up. So I'm at 2.5 minutes, 3 minute dive time, and it's still pitch black. And that's when my mind went back to getting stuck at the bottom. And I remember distinctly the mind saying, hey, you're stuck at the bottom, you go 100 metres, you're fucked. And it's all my mind was telling me on the way up. So I remember thinking, right, I can't see anything. So I swam in a circle, did a 360, no, still can't see anything. And I was so narked, I didn't think to pull my lanyard to a rope, I just didn't have that little cognizance. So I thought I'd better take my lanyard off, is what I thought. And then I remember thinking if I take it off now, they'll never find me if I black out. So I'm trying to figure all this out. Meanwhile, I swam past safety free divers, I didn't even see them. And I heard this, which is, you're at 30. And I thought, shit, they're calling me. They're way up at 30, way up there somewhere. It's amazing I can hear them, but I better hurry up and get up to them, is what I was thinking. Yeah, it was a pretty messed up situation from some of those prior experiences. And when I came out of the top, I literally came out of the water, both arms up, thinking I had about 35 metres to go.
So you were still narked even at the surface?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Completely narked. a long time in O2 Sats back up after that dive, I remember. Yeah, so it wasn't a pleasant dive, that one. Anyway, I've taken up enough of your evening. Thank you for listening.
Thank you for